On today's show, I'm here with Dana Larson, and we're going to talk about 2 reasons why the Mavericks will absolutely make the playoffs. And we'll talk about 2 reasons why they'll probably make the play-in. We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. We're the best way you can help us grow the show. To listen every day, leave a 5-star review, like the video, and comment anything below. Let me know in the comment section. Give me a reason why you think the Mavericks will make the playoffs, so they'll move up in the standings, or a reason why they'll make the play-in and stay the same or move down, basically. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And joining me from Bally Sports Southwest, what you got for me, Dana Larson?
Hello, everybody. The Mavs are like the weather here lately. From one high to a low and back again, one extreme to the other over 48 hours. It's been a wild ride this week, hasn't it?
What's the weather equivalent of that Cavs game? Is it like a tornado quake? It's like both.
Yeah.
It's like 2 things at once.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a beautiful day that ends with, horrible lightning storm or something. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I still am not over it. I still am not over. I've said this now. I've talked about this like twice in a row on podcasts now. I'm still not over Followell talking about how he wanted to fight somebody the next day after that.
How did I miss that?
On the broadcast, he goes, Harp, I was walking around and I just, I was just hoping somebody would step up to me. And I was like, of all people, Followell wanting to fight somebody is
that one really
thing.
Messed him up, didn't it? Yes. It was like a Followell we've never heard or seen before. The nicest guy in the world wants to fight someone after that.
Do not run it. He'd probably fight you in Spanish too.
He would. He would just outsmart you and you would walk away frustrated. That's what would happen.
Oh my gosh. But the Mavs won, so we can be happy again, right? That's how it works. We're back up. So today we're going to walk through a couple reasons why we think the Mavericks will, maybe make the play-in and maybe not necessarily move up. Some concerns that we have about the Mavericks. But I want to start here with a couple of reasons why we think the Mavs will move up in the playoffs. Right now, as the the Kings lost to the Nuggets, and so the Mavs moved up to 7th, and so they're in 7th right now. They're only a half game out of 5th, half game out of 6th as well. They're all those teams are just so tight. That whole section right there is wild. And on Locked On NBA yesterday with Pat the designer, I talked about the conundrum that those 4 teams have: the Suns, Pelicans, Mavs, and Kings. Because if you make the playoffs, your first round matchup is either the Nuggets or the Clippers, and that is very difficult. If you make the play-in, you still have to play in the play-in, but then your first round matchup is either the Timberwolves or the Thunder, and that just seems a little more palatable to me. But so that's the weird conundrum. We'll talk about that all throughout the rest of the season. But let's start with reasons the Mavs will make the playoffs. I'm going to start. Luka and Kyrie are that good. They'll move up because of those 2 guys. Those 2 guys have been so good and so consistent. There's only 2 teammates in the NBA that are scoring 14 or more points in second halves this season. Can you guess who they are?
There's only 2 teammates.
Only 2 teammates. It's Luka and Kyrie. I'll give.
Okay. Yeah. It was really tough.
There's only 14 players in the whole NBA that are averaging 14 points in second halves, and Luka and Kyrie are 2 of them. Like, these guys turn it on at the time when you need it. You saw it in that game against the Raptors. Luka carried the 3rd quarter, Kyrie carried the 4th quarter, and they really know how to like insert their will basically whenever they need to in a game.
Well, and you'd like too that they're also now have a nice rhythm with one another. That when it's one guy's turn, the other understands or is getting a breather on the bench. There isn't any sort of clunkiness between them at all. I mean, there's a real synergy with the way those 2 are playing. And I mean, it's literally the dream backcourt. It's 2 of the best players in the world in the backcourt. It's the 2 guys you want more than any other back there, especially with, their scoring ability, with the experience now from a guy like Kyrie, who's been, and we're reminded, has won a championship after just going back to Cleveland again. You remember what he did early in his career. there's a lot of veteran leadership that's going to come from him. That's going to steady this ship during some, pressure packed times that are coming up here. I mean, yes. And I thought you were going to only give us one reason to do, just to pull the curtain back a little bit.
I cheated.
And I thought it was too easy to say because they have Luka and Kyrie, right? Because exactly. I mean, they're just that good. You're right.
And Kyrie's complementary ability to play off of Luka and still be this singular talent too, I think has really surprised me, because you've heard the stories about Kyrie of, he wants to be that guy. He left Cleveland because he wanted to prove that he could do it without LeBron. And you've heard these stories about Kyrie in the past. And I think part of it is maybe there's misconceptions about him. I think another part of it is I think he's matured. You and I have talked about that on this show where we listened to him at Media Day. We've listened to him coming into the season where he just seemed like he had turned a page in his career and honestly in his life too, where he had just become a more mature person and realized this is what I want in life. And this is what I want to do in life. And one thing he wants to do in life is to be really good at basketball and to complement and help those around him. And I think that mentality of him wanting to help those around him, I think is in his personal life and a lot of the things that he supports and, donates money to and promotes on, Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. But then I think that has carried over to the basketball court too, where he kind of lays back for a little bit and tries to get other guys involved. That play where in the Indiana game, I keep going back to where he's by himself in the front court where he's on a fast break and it's just him and there's nobody between him and the basket. But he sees Josh Green streaking on his left side, and he just passes the ball to Josh Green and gives him the opportunity when he could totally have just turned around and taken the shot himself. It was just one of those moments that stood out to me, he's playing unselfish basketball. He wants to, he's putting the team first in a lot of ways, and him going off on those runs like he did with the, against the Raptors, that's putting the team first too, because they needed that at that moment.
Well, and those two guys also know that they can turn it on like that, and they can go score 10 straight points when needed. But the to be successful, you've got to bring others along with you. And probably that's where, as you just to the point of his maturity, Kyrie recognizes that now. And even going back to Cleveland in some of his comments were reminders. He said, I thank everybody here for allowing me to make so many mistakes and, whether it was on or off the court at the time. And he's had his moments along the way that have been a little rocky, but you're right. I mean, to a man in the locker room, the coaching staff, everybody in this organization, he has been nothing but a, supremely positive presence and player and person on this team this entire year. And now you can just sit back too, because what we always wanted to do was separate the issues that he might, create with whatever it was that were controversial off the court sort of things, because all you ever wanted to do was just recognize what an incredible player he is. And every single night, every single game, he does something or many somethings that you literally just go, wow, that is unbelievable. He is such a gifted scorer and playmaker. And really so you're just getting that. You're getting that and all the good that comes with that this year from him.
And honestly, we haven't even had to separate that with Kyrie this season, because he hasn't given us anything to be controversial about. He's made jokes about, you guys are going to twist this or say this, and just there hasn't been anything. He had a quote on NBA TV. He went on NBA TV after the Raptors game, and he said, "It's really a team effort. I think the true testament of greatness is being next to other great players and being able to be yourself." I think that is him reflecting on his LeBron James playing days with the Cavs and realizing that's what real greatness is actually being able to play next to each other. Because you've heard some of the quotes about the guys that played on that Celtics team with him and Gordon Hayward and Tatum and Brown and all that, where they were just it was a bunch of individuals trying to show up. But Kyrie he's turned the page and he's learned how to be a complimentary player, but also still the singular star that he is. And man, it's one of the reasons why I think the Mavs are going to move up, because I think these two guys are that good. Like you said, they can turn it on whenever they want to. And so coming up, let's talk about the guys around them. Let's talk about the rotation. It's starting to shape up. I'm excited to see what it's like with Exum now. We'll talk about all that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds and stuff that you can use to check out all kinds of NBA games to make it more interesting for you. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. $150 in bonus bets. Go check out FanDuel. See what they have available for you. They have all kinds of NBA stuff. Let's see. Do they have Mavs? They don't have the Mavs next game yet, but they will probably by the time you check this out. They've got a parlay builder where you can add all kinds of different things. Where's Luka with MVP right now? Plus 500. He was like plus 1,200, I think, before the All-Star break. And so plus 500, he's getting up there. Jokic is minus 140. SGA is plus 210. And then Luka is plus 500. He is rising up this. So you better get in on this before the odds are not favorable enough for you to win money off of it. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking it out. Also, check out the Locked On Sports Dallas 24/7 stream. We've got 24/7 of Locked On shows that cover all kinds of Dallas sports, the Rangers, the Stars, who just made a huge trade, so you want to watch that show. Locked On Cowboys. Do they do anything interesting ever? I don't know. I guess the Cowboys would. Stuff to talk about. Colleges as well. Locked On Sports Dallas, the YouTube channel, as well as on Amazon Fire. Check it out. All right, Dana. Another reason why the Mavs will make the playoffs. Give me one of your reasons why you think the Mavs will move up in the standings and eventually make the playoffs.
I've got a reason, and it has many tentacles. So maybe I'm cheating with this one. I don't know. But
okay.
I
cheated at first. Now you're allowed to cheat.
Okay, good. It's their depth. I think they are, and we've heard Jason Kidd say this, we are as deep as we have been in a really, really long time. And their depth now, because they're healthy, because they made a really smart trade at the deadline, they're not only a better defensive team, but they're an even better offensive team. And I think that is really, really exciting for what this team can do. They have options, they have versatility, they have size, they have the potential for 4 different guys to score 20 in a game. We just saw that, we saw what PJ Washington can do in Toronto. There's no doubt he can give you 20 in a game. There are matchup advantages. This is a young roster, but it's balanced with the kind of the veteran presence we were talking about, where they can, handle the pressures of a stretch run. They have insurance policies. I mean, we've seen this team have to deal and grind it out through just a tremendous amount of adversity with injuries. You've got guys who, if someone has a bad game or someone's hurt, who can step right in. You have the luxury of guys who were your starters early in the year and were worthy of that because they were playing up to that potential. Now they're guys you're bringing off the bench. So I think this roster, when healthy, constructed as a team that is built for the playoffs. I would put them up there with the Suns and the Pelicans, who are currently 5 and 6 in the West.
Yeah, their depth. You just look at Daniel Gafford's minutes and realize the different looks that they can get, because this is a player that a Daniel Gafford type is someone they desperately needed. I don't know, for like 6 years, 7 years. I mean, when's the last time Tyson Chandler suited up, right? Like it feels like they needed that type of player.
Well, Luka said his entire career, basically, he's been waiting for someone. So we're in 5.5 years, right?
And Gafford has played 17 minutes, 24 minutes, 23 minutes, 17 minutes. Those are all wins. 19 minutes and 7 minutes in losses, and then 24 minutes. Like, he doesn't need to play the 30-something minutes. He doesn't need to, they can afford to have him play less minutes and then throw a different look out there. And I just look at his minutes to show the variability of, all right, Maxey can still be that stretch 5 that, can defend on the perimeter better than the other 2. But then you still have the other 2 that were really good against the Raptors and were able to grab rebounds and protect the rim. And they have options. And Dwight Powell has not seen the floor,
right,
except for garbage time. And he was a starter all of last year. Don't forget that Dwight Powell was a starter on the Mavs.
They were able to give Maxey Kleber the night off on the second night of a back-to-back, which he is so valuable. That's become quite obvious here since he returned from injury. I mean, we knew that, but you have to, when you're a player is out for a long period of time, kind of just figure out how to move forward without being so, sad that they're not there for you. He comes back and you realize all the things he brings to you, and you don't want to lose him. So if you can kind of manage things by giving him a night off here and there and have him healthy for the playoffs because you've got Lively and Gafford, and if you need a Dwight Powell over there too. I mean, those are the kinds of things I think are just going to be super, super important going forward. They just did a tremendous job getting depth at that position and versatility there.
Yeah, with the depth, I think PJ Washington and Josh Green rounding out the starting five. This was going to be another one of my points, is that those two guys bring the intangibles and the like hustle plays and things like that you need in a starting lineup. That I think that they were trying to, like Jason Kidd had that quote a while ago where he said, we've stretched our rotation. We've stretched our lineup as much as we can. And now it feels like when you have PJ and Josh Green starting, then you have Tim off the bench, Derrick Jones Jr. off the bench, Exum off the bench. You have the guys in their more natural roles, I think, or at least better roles in like the hierarchy. And I think having those two guys round out the starting five next to Luka, Kyrie, and Lively has just been a really great, like it's been a really great like 5-man to throw out there. And then your bench you have a really deep bench. One of the reasons why I think like I'm feeling a little more confident if the Mavs did ever face the Nuggets or somebody like that is like their bench was going to be really good. And like some of these teams don't have a good, like the Suns even like don't have a really good bench at all.
Right. I feel really good about the matchup with Phoenix. We can't wait to see them play Denver again. They played them, early in the year and so many changes since. So you feel like it's an entirely different look. And you do, like you said, you feel like they might match up better. And you can't wait to kind of get that measuring stick there. The PJ Washington addition is super exciting to me. I mean, and this is when we talk about it's like no disrespect to Derrick Jones Jr. at all, because he was an amazing, addition to this team early on, but you added an inch and 30 pounds, and incredible wingspan and more of an offensive tool chest, really, when you've got PJ Washington. So you've got, you just expanded that position and that role right there when you brought him in, and he's just getting more and more comfortable. To see him go from, shooting only in the teens from three for the first, 5, 6, 7 games here. Now his last couple of games, really shooting the ball so much better from long range. I think he's up to like 29% from three.
He improved by 10 percentage points in one game. Like
that's pretty quick, right?
Numbers.
And so he can hit 5 threes in a game. And you're like, that's right. He could score 40 in a game. Now he may never have that kind of shot attempts on a team with Kyrie and Luka to do something like that. But he has a skill set offensively that fits really, really well in that position, and also is perfectly happy, it appears so far, to just really put the emphasis on the defensive side and go do the dirty work and then be happy with the offense as a bonus. And I mean, that is what you need from a role player coming in to play around Luka and Kyrie.
I think he's just happy to be on a team that wins more games than they lose. I think, honestly, I think that's what he's most happy about. I'm looking back at, he is on one team above 500 with the Hornets. They were 43-39, and then they got destroyed in the play-in game, and I think James Borrego was out after that. But yeah, I think he's just happy to just win games, whatever you need me to do.
Different point in his career, right? When he's coming out of the draft and he's a high draft pick and everyone's going to look to him to be featured offensively, right? Now, like you said, you're hungry, you're super motivated, you're happy to be on a winner, you'll do anything. And so he comes in and he's willing to make the emphasis be on the defensive side. I mean, sometimes that's what it is. It's getting the right guy at the right time in their career to be the right fit.
That lineup too, the starting five, Luka, Kyrie, Josh Green, PJ Washington, Dereck Lively. They played 5 games together. They played about 48 minutes, which isn't a lot. It's a small sample size, but still 134 points per 100 possessions on offense, which is insane. They're scoring at an insane clip. Defensive rating, 97 points allowed per 100 possessions. They're outscoring teams by 37 points per 100 possessions. That is an effective lineup right there. Now, it's 5 games, so like one game can completely skew that, but they're like really good. And this is finally like a starting five that actually makes sense, that you put on the court and you go, okay, I can see how this team can be a good defensive team. I can see how this team could be a good offensive team. And looking forward, like Josh Green is what, like 23? PJ Washington's 25. Luka just turned 25. Yes. Lively is just turned 20. And Kyrie is only like 32, which is not old, Dana.
No, No,
32 is not old, not yet.
Gafford's 25 too, right? I think.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that to be old yet. I'm not ready for those players that like I'm
You are
older
a
than.
baby.
I'm not ready for the players that I'm older than to start like retiring. And so like that starting five is just, it's really coming together, and I'm really loving what I'm seeing from it so far.
Totally agree. I think that's really exciting. And I think there's other combinations too that you like to look at. You can hear Jason Kidd already rave about having Maxey and PJ Washington Jr. out there together. And
Yes.
that is a really solid defensive combo on the court. And I am so excited about Dante Exum's return because Exum and Kyrie Irving is another combo that I think really, really is going to be good. Exum brings so much that this team has missed, that kind of backup point guard stability. And he and Kyrie are really, I think, a really good combo because they both like to push the pace. Exum's a point guard that looks to pass first. You can get Kyrie off the ball, doing the things he does. He moves so well without the ball. I mean, those, to me, there's a couple of exciting combinations that we get to start seeing more of now going forward.
Absolutely. I'm excited about Exum's return, but coming up, we've got to talk about some reservations. What are we concerned about? What are some reservations we have about this team? We'll get into that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Quiiiz. Quiiiz daily fantasy made easy. You can check out Quiiiz. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. The easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You pick the more or less on projections of 2 to 6 players and watch the winnings roll in. All you have to do is go to Quiiiz. I'm there right now, prizepicks.com, and then you pick more or less. So right now I'm on the NBA. You can do NHL, MLB, all kinds of different stuff. Soccer. No way. They have the combine. Okay, wait. I gotta go now. I'm going to the combine because this is insane. Okay, I don't know any of these players' names, but I'm gonna go Dallas Turner, more or less 4.46 on his 40 time. Oh, give me more. Wait, you want to do less? Less is better on the 40 time, so I'm gonna go less on that. Chris Braswell, linebacker, 4.51 on his 40 time. Give me more. He's slow. He's slow as hell. Give me that one. And then I'm gonna go Peyton Wilson on his 40 time. 4.46, give me less. Speedster right there. Go check that out. You can pick more or less on the 40 time. That really threw me off. I did not expect that. That's really funny. Go check out that on Quiiiz. They have NBA stuff as well. And if you put down just on those 3 that I mentioned earlier, if you put down $20, you can win $100 on that on the power play. Check out all the different ways that you can win. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use that code LockedOnNBA for first deposit match up to $100. Again, prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is, huh? Anybody?
All right, Dana. One more thing about Dante Exum, because I'm excited about his return too, and then we'll talk about some of our reservations. But I think Exum has just I'll cheat as well, and I'll couch it and do both a reservation and an excitement that I have about this team, and reason why I think they'll move up. Exum has pushed Tim Hardaway Jr. back into his more natural role. Doesn't have to handle the ball as much. Can be that finisher where he takes catch and shoot shots and is not required to run pick and roll, which I do not want him to do very much at all. And he pushes him back in there. That was one of my reservations, is that Tim would have to have too big of an offensive role, because can Luka and Kyrie really carry that team as often and as much as they need them to? Because they really do need them to be great every single night, which they can be. But if they have an off night, and if they have a couple off nights, then all of a sudden the team could be in big trouble. But Exum's return, I think, eases that a little bit. But then my other concern is that Exum gets hurt a lot, and then we've seen him miss a bunch of games. So that's a encouragement and a concern all wrapped into one, is the offense and how much can these players carry.
Well, and you make really good points, and I think maybe they will manage Exum's minutes.
Yeah.
I think, they're trying to keep it right at around 20 minutes. And if he's doing that off the bench, that's probably perfect anyway. But I agree. I'm on pins and needles to keep him healthy. Knee bursitis does not feel like something that just heals during a season. You know what I mean? Word. So that is something to watch for too. And I feel exactly the same way about relying on Luka and Kyrie, not only to go big, but also just when it turns into just Luka or Kyrie iso ball. you can, it's, you can set, they can do it. They can score big. Those two can score 60 together. They can score 70 together. But if the ball, we have seen this team at its best, and this team at its best is with a lot of guys involved, with the ball moving, with a lot of guys in rhythm, because at the end of tough games against good defenses, they'll be able to make life difficult on Luka and Kyrie. Somebody needs to be in rhythm, available, ready to shoot, ready to score. And if they haven't touched the ball for a long time, then that's a lot to ask of a guy. So to me, that's a little bit of a concern too. And the third scorer, a consistent third scorer, getting Tim Hardaway Jr. Comfortable in his new normal. And maybe that new normal is actually what he originally was doing, right? And so just getting him back into that should be really important, and hopefully can happen here sooner than later.
So one of our concerns is the health of Exum, and then the roles and like the offense and that. Another one of my concerns about the Mavericks and why I think that they'll maybe stay in the play-in is it's just too hard to move up. Mavs went on a 7-game win streak and didn't move at all in the standings. Right. I mean, all these teams have been so good. The Suns, Pelicans, Mavs, Kings, they're all kind of in that same group. The Nuggets are, the Mavs are 4 games back from the Nuggets. 23 games to move up 4. It's just really, really hard, especially with a team that's good. The Mavs have 23 games left. 13 of them are on the road, so they're playing more road games than home games. That's concerning. They go on like a 5-game road trip, I think, or something like that. They also have 4 back-to-backs in the middle of that too. So the schedule, even though you'll look at some of the strength of schedule things, the Mavericks do have an easier strength of schedule, but the schedule, it's not easy. It's not like a cakewalk to end the season.
No, not at all. Right here, schedule, my biggest concern. And that is what's funny is you look at strength of schedule, and if you just see that, you think, this is no problem. When you dive into the schedule, I got more and more nervous the more and more research I was doing, because 15 of the last 23 games are against teams that are either in the playoff or play-in in either conference. That's 65% of the remaining games. That's only 8 against the Utahs, the Houstons, the San Antonios, Detroits, and Charlottes of the world. The rest are really tough, including the next 4 against playoff teams out of the Eastern Conference. Boston, I know Philly is not, what it is usually with Embiid out. Indiana, again, that's going to be interesting. You've got Miami twice coming up. 3 against Golden State, 2 against Sacramento, who you've yet to beat this year, 0-2. 2 against the Thunder, you split with them, and 1 more against Denver, who you've yet to beat this year, 0-2 against the Nuggets so far. So truly, I agree with you there. This is not an easy schedule, and we've already seen what they did, right? Like you said, a 7-game win streak didn't even get you up that far. You do need help from other teams, and you're not getting very much of it right now.
The strength of schedule thing is kind of misleading, because you look at, just look at the Pacers. They missed Tyrese Halliburton for a lot of the time, and they just traded for Siakam. They're a different team than they were before all this. The Warriors, deceiving when you look at just they're 30-27. Oh, they're a mid team. No, they have played so well lately, and they've kind of figured it out, and they know how to play together and all that. And Clay has accepted this bench role, and it's just been completely different. So schedule, absolutely something that is concerning for the Mavericks. The last one that I have is the tiebreakers. They're going to have some of these tiebreakers. The only one that they really own right now is the Suns. They're 2-1 on the Suns, which is great. That one's over. So if they end up tying with the Suns, and it's Suns are 6th and Mavs are 7th, then the Mavs would move up to 6th. And so that's a positive one. They're down 0-2 to the Kings, though. You mentioned that one. They've got 2 games left. They have 2 games in Sacramento with 2 days off in between, which is like a really weird schedule thing. But that one is interesting for you, for this team to try and figure out. And then the Pelicans, they're tied 2-2 with the Pelicans. And the tiebreaker, have you looked at the tiebreakers yet? I've just started to get into this.
Division record
it goes head-to-head matchup, and then it goes there's one more before that. But yeah, then it goes to record in the division. And so like the Mavs are 8-5 in the Southwest Division. By the way, anyone listening, if you could name the teams in the Southwest Division, I would be very impressed. Dallas is 8-5 in Southwest, and the Pelicans are 9-6 in the Southwest. So they're right there too. So then it could go down to I think the next tiebreaker after that is like your record against playoff teams in your conference. Like just a weird thing.
Yeah, it gets convoluted, and this is the only time we're looking at division record
or division, or like the division at all.
The division period, exactly. And you did. I mean, that's why we knew those losses to the Pelicans early on, felt tough, and they were gut wrenching at the time. But right, there will be when you're done with Minnesota, you're done with the Clippers. Like you said, Phoenix is one you've got. And you're going to see, teams like Golden State, who you may be in the play-in mix. And this is the worst time of year to have the majority of the games against them. They're always better as they've worked their way through it. They have a great coach who knows how to, try things and figure things out. And like you said, they've just got guys who know how to play at that time of year. So yeah, this is challenging, but it's also going to be really, really fun sprint to the finish.
Mavs do have the tiebreaker over the Lakers. They're 2-1 over the Lakers. So that's another positive, especially looking at how LeBron looked last night. Oh my gosh. That's what we talked about on Locked On NBA. And it was just,
he is the example that Luka needs to continue to watch, because how you handle your body, how you stay healthy, how you play that many minutes. Because when you look at Luka, he's another concern. Luka's career high minutes, right?
Yeah,
far, averaging 37 a game. He's only 25. You want him to play till he's 40, right? And you want him to be as good as LeBron is at this age. And he just needs to continue to see what the king is doing in that regard, because it's unbelievable.
Career high minutes, but luckily for him, it's been 35 over the last 7 games. He's gotten to play 31 one night, 31 another, 33, and then 35 against the Raptors. So like these trades have helped like limit that usage and minutes and all that kind of stuff. So that's been a positive. There you go. That's reasons why we think they'll move up and make the playoffs, or stay the same or move down and make the play-in. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. We'll be back. Slightly and I will have you covered for the post game against the Celtics, and then Mavs Sixers, weird noon game on Sunday. So that we'll have you covered for that one as well. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.